would make it this far. They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball.
Right, and go beat something up or go smoke something or drink something. You know what I'm saying? Or do something with a kangaroo or something, you know, depending on your purview, of course. Don't ask me why I'm so obsessed with the kangaroo. I'm going to wear a kangaroo t-shirt on Friday during our Back to the Future review, just for you, Matthew.
I'm seriously concerned about your obsession, Jeff.
I don't know what it is, man. I just want to fight a kangaroo, baby. It's on my fucking my what the fuck true knowledge crazy as fuck bucket list, baby. You know what I'm saying? Along with doing a foursome, because threesomes are getting boring for me. You know what I'm saying? They're getting old. So
Jeff, I have a question. Have you seen Kangaroo Jack?
Well, of course, bro. It's a fucking classic. What are you kidding me? I mean, that's like asking me if I saw Saving Private Ryan. My favorite movie.
I just had to say it just to see your reaction.
How'd you know? I got the DVD right over there.
Well, take it. I want to see
it.
It's
right next to White Midget's penis. Remember? Behind my laptop.
Oh, my God. Please, no. I'm sorry, audience. I'm so sorry.
Kangaroo Jack. What are you goddamn kidding me? Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm telling you, time cop. Well, all right, folks, how's it going? Oh, you know what? I should probably let Mr. Time Cop out of prison. I'm sorry, sir, but like you came from the wrong dimension or whatever, whatnot this time, right? And so you had to be in fucking in time travel prison there for a while on StreamYard. Okay? Cyber mandated a new rule, right? Yeah. That like if you're gonna pull one of your last minute entrances where you somehow managed to get in there right before we go live or whatever. Like while I'm hitting the button, you pop on. If you're actually late at that point, you have to sit in time travel prison. Right, Cyber?
No.
You know it.
Prison. No, prison's not.
Hey, you want to play the Facebook user game? We can do this all night. We should make this like this would be great if people will come in and be Facebook user, and we can just use the cards to try to figure out. We can just hold them up. Like who we think it is?
Oh no, please don't. I mean, we really did that last Monday, so it's fine.
I have a feeling when you guys get your cards, hey folks, how's it going? The MCU's Bleeding Edge new channel and podcast in the house. I'm about to bust off a dope ass Spider-Man Far From Home. Yes, Spider-Man 2, Tom Holland bitch. You know, Mysterio, what up, Jake Gyllenhaal? About to bust off a live stream review on that ass. Co-host Cyberneticshark, jumping on the panel with Mr. Andres, the pop culture guy, Time Lord, Time Cop. What is he? Is he 100-minute man or 60-minute man?
He's 60, both.
60-minute man, not 100.
I thought I was 60-minute man.
No, you're monologue man. That's you over monologue like a supervillain.
Cyber, I'm gonna make sure that I get a good clip up of you on here on my next couple of clips for the pre-show clips, right? It's just I'm easier to pick the clips out of because if you just look for people in the video that are laughing, I'm usually doing something. So like I'm in the shit. I can't help it, right? And you don't laugh or fall out very often. Like you don't. It doesn't happen as much. I laugh more than you do, I think, in general. So like you're more like delivered like than you are like a receiver in that humor area sometimes. I think.
Yes.
You got to really come at Cyber with some highbrow, high level.
I have to find it funny for me to laugh, honestly.
It's all got to be there, right? It's got to be funny, and the timing's got to be there, and everything, right?
It's like a good comedy, It's got to be just perfect.
Do you think I would? Do you think I'd be better if I could do impersonations like you kind of whatnot and everything? I can't do them at all. Do I even need them? Like, would that even work for me?
I think that's not really your shtick. Your shtick is coming up with these really hilarious, like
off the cuff.
Your off the cuff things, like your white vision penis thing.
Yeah, who the fuck else comes up with that in that moment, right? Like it was right behind my laptop and all that shit.
Nope.
I just thought about that. You know what? I just put myself in both of y'all's shoes as a fellow teammate member, right? And like a fellow brother, you know, bros against hoes and shit and whatnot. I put myself in your shoes. I couldn't imagine either one of you like off the cuff just being like, yeah, White Vision's penis was right behind my laptop this whole time. I love finding these recurring themes, folks. But anyways, I got a new hat. I almost wore it in public today for the first time when I was going to Kohl's and Walmart, but then I actually took it off and decided not to because I did not want to draw. I was a little bit concerned. What do you guys think, real quick? Andres, how you think I would have been okay with Walmart with the hat on? It's Walmart.
Nope. I have no word to say. That's you. Be yourself. Don't be ashamed.
Well, dude, I mean, it's Walmart. There's chicks in there wearing clothes and outfits and shit and whatnot that like chicks that buy shit at fucking Goodwill and whatnot. Everything look down on at their shit. They laugh at. So it's Walmart. What do you think, Cyber? I probably should have just rocked it, right? We're talking about Walmart.
You should have just rocked it.
And Kohl's. For real. Nobody would have said one word to me or even gave me one funny look.
Hopefully you would get some looks, for some of these women. Because totally, it says,
if they're a single mom, right? I didn't think about that. That probably would really help me out, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't give off that vibe that I'd be out there trying to like hunt married chicks like some of these weird ass dudes out there do that actually target them. They want to bang married women. Fuck that, bro. You got something wrong with you, kid. Anyways, folks, not to get too far off astray, we're here to wrap up what we started basically almost a little less than 2 years ago. Give or take a couple months, our Infinity Saga review series, right? From movie 1 all the way to what? Where are we at off this one? 23?
Yes.
Oh, there's Jocelyn Barrett. Jocelyn, you're using your last name? What are you trying to get all like uppity on us tonight or what? Because you're up in Canada? And you could grow weed outside your house legally, and we can't. You think you're better than us? That's okay, Miss Barrett. And I'm glad you shop at Walmart, Miss Barrett. A lot of us do. I'm actually thinking about checking out that one shopping center down the road that you put the nickel into the cart to get the cart. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I forget what it is, but they just put one in down the road. Anyway, that was pretty random that you threw in that. I shop at Walmart. Honestly, Josh, usually by now you're already saying something about tits or porn or I'd fuck this person or whatever. This is actually pretty personal. But no, whatever. This film is what? It's the 23rd or 21st or 22nd film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've got it right here. Essentially, it's Tom Holland's second solo film. It comes off of Endgame, so it's the first, piece of Marvel content or Marvel movie when all there was Marvel movies before there were Disney Plus series, coming right off Endgame, right? So, actually dealing with the blip and whatnot for the first time, having to, factor that in. Honestly, I've watched this film, I'd say total, maybe this will be my third time. Let me just go around real quick and whatnot and everything. And I'll start with you, Mr. Time Cop, Time Lord, sir, from whatever year you decided to come from tonight.
Time Cop.
How many times have you seen the movie? Just, give me a roundabout. And then how's it holding up for you at this point?
I think this my this is tough because in terms of my rewatch, I think it's maybe third, fourth, like full on with the movie, I guess. For this film, my feelings towards this film is kind of mixed. I mean, it's definitely a good mid-tier MCU film. I just don't think it's really it's not really the strongest Holland film in the trilogy. Like
I thought you were gonna say it was horrible or something all of a sudden, like you say before every like Marvel movie review lately.
Well, I mean, one thing that this movie got that the others didn't get is a good villain, Mysterio. Our boy, Jake Gyllenhaal is in this movie, and this is the only reason I like this film is because of Mysterio. Like they just like, oh my god. We'll get into our review. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal is the best villain in the MCU. Like he's in my ranking, but anyway, yes, that's right. Mysterio lives. Mysterio is the greatest villain ever.
So Cyber, just to be clear, what Andres is saying, like, he's trying to be nice now after he slammed fucking Ant-Man in the Wasp, right? What he's basically saying is that basically if you take Mysterio out, Thor: Love and Thunder is better than this movie.
Maybe.
I figured you out now, Time Lord, Time Cop, sir. I got you all pegged now.
No,
I honestly think what Andres keeps telling us every time he says something is that in the future, in 2087, that unfortunately the movies, from our time frame,
that's right, he's advanced,
are 100% different than what they are then, and they're a lot more metaphorical and metaphysical. So I think what he's trying to tell us is that he truly loves it, but he doesn't want to sound like he truly loves it because then he'd just be like, I love every Marvel film.
No. I'm speaking to my heart. It's not a great Spider-Man film, but it's a decent one.
I'm going to do some research and go back. I'm telling you right now.
He lost his heart in 2087.
I've been watching trends. You've been on a trend for like, I don't know, what do you think, Cyber? Like a month now, where like literally all of a sudden, like, remember Cyber, I said something about it, that he was like, all of a sudden he was dropping all these low ratings and whatnot, everything. Like when he was getting too friendly and whatnot, dropping 9s on everything we did. Like every episode of whatever we covered, it was a 9 or an 8.5 or whatever, right? All of a sudden, I think he corrected himself. He went back and watched that shit and he corrected himself. He was like, you know what? I got to even this out. So I'm just going to start slamming these fucking movies right from jump. Who knows? Maybe he just wants to like get the shit talk going. I don't know. Good for you. I'll enjoy that. If that's what you're doing, Andreas, I'm glad, brother. Thank you. But no, sir. I mean, seriously, it's been like multiple, especially MCU movie reviews of all movies to review, right? Literally Marvel movies. You're coming in from jump, just like that Sean guy on the phone with me. Thor: Love and Thunder is the best movie since Godfather 2 and all this shit.
No way. It's not as good as Godfather 2. That's just ridiculous. See, I will never make that kind of accusation.
But, you didn't actually fucking say that, bro. Come on.
Oh, really? Oh, God. I was going to say, like, he was, like, he's out of his mind. Like, Love and Thunder is, like, Batman Robin bad.
That's what we were fighting over on the phone before he even came on the show. We got into it because over Thor: Love and Thunder. No, and it wasn't him. It was another creator that actually flat out said that. Like when I asked him, I was like, "So do you think because I don't like She-Hulk, I'm one of those incel like chauvinist type motherfuckers, or whatever, whatnot, and everything?" Right? He was like, "Yeah, honestly, I do." Or whatever, whatnot. Right? Yeah. He was the one that said that like when I said that I like Miss Marvel, his reasoning for liking Miss Marvel was because Miss Marvel was an ethnic character, not because of the show was good or anything like that, whatnot. Not because of anything I like about. He didn't know anything about Velati, right? Nothing. Ethnic character. That was his reasoning. So basically, I was like, so you're one of those like fucking third wave feminists, like woke type fucking MCU fans, whatever, whatnot. He was like, yeah, I am actually. What his point was, I have no idea. But I tried to find that spot where I checked Sean on that show, but it happened so quickly I couldn't find that spot. Now, Cyber, same question to you, sir. How many watches? How's the movie holding up for you? Any thoughts on Andreas' premise that without Jake Gyllenhaal, Spider-Man 2 would be basically like bottom tier MCU fodder?
So I've seen this a dozen times at least. I mean, I've watched it a billion times since I got the digital and the physical media of it and stuff like that. So I believe I saw this in theater 3 times. So back in 2019. So I've seen it a million times. Anyways, but I mean, I think it still holds up. I think it's a fun film. Definitely, this is not one of my favorite villains in the whole MCU. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is a great actor. I like him as an actor, but his Mysterio I thought was crap. And I don't think that Andreas's message, Time Cop's message, that this movie would be lower grade tier MCU film without him. I disagree with that because there are plenty of villains they could have come up with. Now, am I happy they did Mysterio? Yes, I love the fact they decided to bring Mysterio into the MCU. I just feel they could have done it a little better. Him just being a get revenge type of person at Tony after he's dead, I just thought was a really crappy premise for a villain. And the fact that the elementals aren't supposed to be real in this, that really pissed me off. So that whole premise of that kind of being the main villain, I think that they could have done better with that. But do I think that without Mr. Jake Gyllenhaal, this would be a crap? No. I think it's still a fun film, even without Jake Gyllenhaal. It would have still been fun because Tom Holland's the shit.
I know. He is just like the VHS tape I got from Andres. That's the form I have of the movie I got for Christmas.
Folks. Don't listen to folks. No, yep. I agree.
Andre sent me the movie, and the fucking little box cost more money than the fucking VHS tape.
Jeff, shush. Anyway, Cyber, I agree with you. I mean, yeah, having another Stark villain was kind of annoying. I mean, especially we got that with the Vulture, and so I was kind of surprised that we did it again here. But
I know Mysterio pretty heavily as a Spider-Man villain in the comics.
Yeah. But
he is an original member of the Sinister Six, isn't he?
Yes, he is. And it was kind of sad he wasn't in No Way Home because that couldn't easily complete that like Sinister Six,
I don't think that Jake Gyllenhaal I don't know. I could be wrong, guys. You can tell me what you think when I go around. When I start the review and we do our first sweep of questions. But I think he was only in to come in and do the one film with the MCU, and that's all he signed up for and whatnot, right? He was one of those Keanu Reeves types that have been talking to Feige for years, just like, hey, when the role pops up, I'm down, right? When you find me that spot, I'm in. If I understand correctly, right? Like he'd been hounding Kevin Feige to get him in the MCU. So when the Spider-Man 2 movie came up, that's when the opening popped up. I don't see Keanu ever showing up in the MCU. I really don't. I think if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now, to be honest with you. But I would honestly, I'm hearing a lot of what is honestly just bullshit and stat shit and click shit on YouTube of people thinking Denzel Washington might come to the MCU and play the new Kang as the Beyonder in the Secret Wars Avengers films, right? So I love it. Dude, if they brought Denzel to the MCU, that would be fucking awesome. Samuel L. and Denzel? God damn.
I mean, it could happen. I mean, I was trying.
Why not? Look at all the good actors. Yeah, I mean, why not Denzel?
Yeah, it's not out of the realm. It's just like right now, are they gonna move forward with Kang? That's the thing.
Yep, they are.
Yeah, so I mean, if they are looking for Denzel, then that's a good pick.
No. We'll save that for another show or whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That's another conversation. But no, let's move on. Let's get into the movie and whatnot, everything, right? So basically, folks, I'm going to keep this pretty short and pretty direct. My outline is pretty tight. I'm not going to seed my seed too heavily. I'm more going to kind of just, let you guys fill in the gaps. It's just the three of us, right? You two to kind of make up the ground that I don't lay out. But essentially, right, we start the movie off, which I think it's a really great start, to be honest with you. Again, this movie is directed by John Watts, who directed all of the Spider-Man films with Sony and Marvel Studios, and then dropped out of the Fantastic Four, directing, gig, because he was MCU'd out, I guess. But right from jump, essentially, the way the film starts off, the introduction, you know, we get an opening scene where we end up with Nick Fury and Maria Hill. Love Maria Hill. I know Cyber loves Maria Hill. Cyber was fucking pissed when they killed off Maria Hill in Secret Invasion. He was not happy. I almost wanted to call her Agent Maria Hill in the caption things or whatever, whatnot that I did for the show. I went to go put her name in, right, as the character, and I almost wanted to add Agent just out of respect for her because of how much I like Colby Smulders in the MCU. I really do. She's sort of like a underrated character, I think. Sort of similar to Sharon Carter. But no, so essentially we get Nick Fury and Maria Hill encountering what we find out later are these elemental creatures in Mexico. Right? We get the introduction of Mysterio, Quentin Beck, as we'll find out. Comic book accurate. We get a nice tie-in where through the high school news station that they have, right, with the same team, the girl and the same guy, right, that do the news at the high school, they carried that over, and they explain the whole blip thing, and we see shots of like Iron Man, Tony, Cap, right? They play the fucking Whitney Houston for The Bodyguard soundtrack music and shit and whatnot over it, which I thought was really funny and cute, right? But basically, at this point, he has a crush on MJ. MJ's her usual asshole self, and Ned's around as always and everything and whatnot. And so's Flash, and the whole team's there, right? Except for the one chick that Peter was feeling. It didn't work out. The Vulture's daughter. So basically, we go off the high school. Finding out right off the bat that Peter is going on this trip where, he's going to Italy, right, as a school trip. With, if I remember correctly, who the actor's name is, he is, that plays, he's in Spider-Man 1, and he's also in another MCU film, but he plays Peter's chaperone on the trip, and he was actually the coach of, like, the academic team or whatever, whatnot. Martin Starr as Roger Harrington, Parker's academic decathlon teacher and the chaperone on the school trip to Europe.
Yes.
He
was also in The Incredible Hulk.
He was. Yes, he's been in the MCU. Yeah, he's been in the MCU more than a couple times. And I've seen him in a couple of TV shows and other movies too. But no, and I agree with you. Hashtag justice for Maria Hill without question. They never should have killed her off. But so from there, right, kind of swiftly moving forward, right? Essentially we bounce off of the opening scene and then the actual going back to the high school with Peter. We have the blip sort of kind of not really explained to some extent, but kind of just at least like dealt with for the first time in the MCU, which was big at that time, right? All the people coming back that were dusted. And things have settled. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up how far this is after the events of Endgame. But it seems pretty fresh. Basically, we get a scene where Aunt May and Peter go with Happy to do some kind of like benefit, right? Where I believe he gives a check to some, fund or scholarship or organization. I can't remember what it was exactly and whatnot. But right from jump, Happy's flirting with Aunt May, Marissa Tomei and whatnot, everything. And Peter don't like that, right? There's some good quippy humor in here, just like the first Spider-Man film, your typical Peter Parker humor. And it's Aunt May that actually advises him to pack the suit, right, for the trip. You should put your suit on because she knows he's Spider-Man at this point. And essentially, I'll stop there before he actually heads over, right? And now, again, I left a lot out there purposely. I'll start with you, Cyber. Your thoughts on that opening of the film, sir? And then anything in general you want to toss out there. The floor is all yours.
Okay, so we're going up to the benefit
After the benefit, before he actually goes on the trip and gets in the plane and goes over to Europe.
Okay, so we're including the school scene where Ned and him are talking
Yeah.
about the trip. Okay.
And Happy, yeah, and Happy, basically telling him, you can't ghost Nick Fury, right? He's been not returning Nick Fury's calls, whatnot. Like, you don't ghost Nick Fury or whatever he says.
Okie dokie. All right, so the beginning. Oh, first, people, to just make this a little more interesting, I decided to bring out my British accent for this particular subject here for you folks. So just bear with me as I give you my thoughts here. So anyway, the premise of this film is quite interesting, but the beginning of the film is just great. I love the first shot of the elemental, the sand elemental, which was really cool. And I thought it was quite interesting. And I liked how it action-packed, and we got this nice little Maria Hill and, Nick Fury thing, which was really great. But the thing is, I wish that had been a little more extended. I would have preferred it to be more extended, because it just would have been just quite to see that elemental a little more action-packed. Kind of like what they did with the scene later on with the water one. But anyways, the intro monologue there, the remembrance of all the fallen heroes was quite an interesting touch to the film. Having that play music and stuff like that for Tony and Natasha and all our fallen comrades, which was absolutely hilarious. I actually thought I kind of laughed at it because I was kind of like, why are they doing this? Why would they decide to do it like this? They could have done something a little better there, but it still played very good for being a school performance. But then we got kind of that, a little bit of information there, mates, blokes, that what happened with the blip. The blip.
I can tell you're rusty. You haven't busted off the British accent, the British one in a long time, so I think you're rusty.
I'm a little rusty, mate. Blokes. Anyways, so the blip is they kind of talk about the blip a little bit and how everyone that came back was still the same age when they got blipped, but everyone that was still here grew 5 years. So we kind of got a little bit of that in there. So I thought that was done really well because it gave us a little bit more information there and made it seem more interesting. Like, oh, I know a little bit more about what happened when everyone reappeared. So I really enjoyed that. Now, as time goes on, breaks American accent. Yes, it is. Anyways,
are you gonna pull a Wanda Maximoff now and change accent in mid talk and mid conversation and shit and whatnot from Sokovia to fucking English?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, folks, so I think that that accent was great, but anyways, I think it's better than most of anybody else could do here. Anyways, so
it is.
So people. Yeah, so we go on, we get kind of that funny little scene in the classroom where Peter's telling Ned kind of what he's going to do with, what he plans to do on this trip that he's going to be going on. He's not going to do anything Spider-Man related, but he wants to basically kind of sweep Mary Jane away, MJ, and give him kind of, that, kind of slide into that first space, you know what I mean? And Ned's like, how about we forget that and we just be cool bachelors over in Europe? Because there's a lot of great, single, foreign women over there and stuff like that, which was pretty funny. And then MJ comes over and Ned makes it sound even weirder than it is, which was really funny. And, which, that was just kind of a fun little scene there. But when it gets to the benefit sequence, and Happy's there and, basically, Aunt May is telling, what happened when she blipped back and how she popped back up in the apartment that she was in 5 years prior. And basically, the people are kind of like, what the hell's going on here? Thinking that she was a mistress and all this kind of stuff, which was really hilarious. And which I think was really funny. and then basically kind of Peter, you could kind of tell Peter isn't all into doing the whole Avenger thing anymore. Like you can see there's something definitely not clicking there for him in this sequence too. But when Happy comes in, the flirty goes on with Aunt May. It's absolutely hilarious. And it's funny that they decided to have that kind of as a storyline throughout the film. And John Favreau trying to be like flirty and stuff was absolutely hilarious. And him and his blip beard, and he's like, I grew this in a blip. I grew this in a blip. Was really funny. And so I think that was really great. And basically, I think this whole first sequence was really great, mates. I really think so. I think it was awesome, fantastic, and that's all I got to say.
I'm not sick, Andreas. I'm just myself, sir. And just speaking my truth, sir. Right? It would be really interesting to get blipped during sex and come back with your dick up in some chick. It would be funny as shit. It'd be really cool. It'd be a classic moment. I'm sorry. It would be classic. But Andreas, sir, your thoughts in contrast to Mr. Cyberneticshark. Do you have anything in counterpoint to him? But what are your thoughts on that opening part before he jumps in the plane and heads over to Europe?
Sure. I got to be honest. I think the opening is very weak. I would say it's not as great as Homecoming. Like
Thor 4. Love it.
Yeah. Oh god. I mean, I mean, I don't know about that, but yeah. Like one of the things I really dug about Spider-Man Homecoming was the way you introduced yourself into the villain, and like particularly Vulture, and like learn how he became the villain, right? And then after that you get like a little like come back to like Peter and like what was between the events of Civil War and to like present day. That was all cool back in Homecoming. Here, I liked the opening when we got to Mysterio. I really did enjoy that. Actually, funny note, I actually missed that opening when I actually first saw it back in 2019. So it was I didn't see the part where Mysterio, meeting up with Rhea Hill and Fury 5 years ago. But yeah, so it was a good that part I really liked. But when we got back to like the high school stuff, I was like, okay, the high school stuff was funny. It was hilarious. It was very like the blip. I have to say, like the blip was. It was very convenient that half his class, like the characters that we got from Homecoming, like didn't like we're all blip. That was that's a major nitpick and a major problem I have with this movie. Is like how convenient that half his friends like were blip, and like I get you, like it's fine you keep Zendaya and Ned as like the same. That's fine. But like, what about the rest? It's like you don't need like Betty to be still like there to age her up or something like that. Like it was just the way they handled the blip. I feel like they didn't do as well. I think that shows like WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier did a better job of addressing the blip a bit better than this movie did, really. Because this movie is just all about the fun and this just. Like it's just another like victory lap for Marvel Studios because it's what they did with Endgame. But we'll get into that more later this week. Cool fact, actually, if you haven't played the video game of Spider-Man PS4, it was cool that Aunt May and Peter were at the feast. This is the feast charity. This is something that Aunt May works during the game. If you didn't know that, so it was really cool to see that in live action. What she was doing in charity. Yeah, so I at that point it was it was kind of interesting, seeing Peter being Spider-Man and grabbing the like I did agree with Cyber that it is an interesting thing that he no longer has this passion to be an Avenger, because just like Iron Man, when he faced the Shatari in the first Avengers, he now knows that he's not alone. He's not the only superhero, like that shook him, specifically in Iron Man 3. And here, the fact that, Spider-Man saw, Iron Man die and like him being gone 5 years, totally affected him emotionally. So for him, not instantly coming back to the Avengers makes a lot of sense. That part of that movie is really great, and I'm very excited to talk more about that because that's definitely the arc they're going for this movie. Yeah, I mean, the Aunt May and the Happy relationship is like I can take it and leave it. I mean, John Favreau, he's a funny guy. I do like him. He has one of my favorite jokes in this movie, which is hilarious. But as this bizarre side plot of him dating Aunt May is kind of like, okay, why we need this? It's like you're just making a joke. I get it.
It's cute.
I mean, it's cute, yeah, but like, come on, like, I don't know, like, I mean, it gets better in.
Happy's a nice guy.
Oh, yeah, really? And Happy is a self-centered, crazy man who takes his job way too serious, as we've seen with his other films. But one thing I do like is actually Happy with Pierre. I actually like that their relation grows in this movie. So that's the part that I like when we see him again here, which is really great. But yeah, so overall, just to wrap things up, I think that this opening is kind of weak. It's not as strong as, say, Homecoming does. But when we get into, when we get, Mysterio again, and, when Pierre meets Quentin, that was where the movie gets picked up, which I it starts to like more of the film. But we'll get into that. But overall, it's a very weak opening. Not bad. It's just, everything that Homecoming sets up, they had to restart because of what happened with the Avengers movies, Infinity War and Endgame. And that's always the unfortunate thing about these MCU films, where they jump too far with the plot lines. It'd be kind of cool to address how Aunt May felt about the reveal of Pierre. Like the fact that we just sidelined that was kind of disappointing, because I really thought, because Aunt May finding out her nephew is a superhero, it's kind of like a big deal. And I didn't like that we kind of sidelined that in this film. But anyway, that's my thoughts of the opening. We'll go from there now.
Well, what do you think about this graphic I have up there, whatnot, and everything, right? What do you think about that budget and the profit off that budget from the box office? You think that Sony was happy about that? They did pretty good?
I mean, yes. I mean, it was coming off of Endgame. Yeah.
No, I know, but I mean, it's Spider-Man too, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get what I'm saying, right? Like that dude, that's a really good profit for that that budget.
Oh, yes. No. I agree with you, Jeff. I'm sorry. Jeff. Yeah, I agreed. I think, especially what happened this year, this is what movies should be doing. Have a good budget. 160 is a good budget to give, not 200 billion or all that big ass budget that these movies had, and make a good movie. And that's what Spider-Man Far From Home was, a good movie, and made a lot of money, which is good. Especially this did. I don't know if you know this, but this Spider-Man movie was the first Spider-Man movie to cross the billion mark, so it is a big deal, actually. And obviously, No Way Home will break more records and actually outdo this movie in terms of $1 billion. But yeah, so this was a big deal. I mean, they crossed $1 billion because of Endgame. I was very surprised they didn't spend too much money, but same time, that's good, because it's like, why you're spending too much, because the Garfield films were way too expensive, and the second Spider-Man movie from Andrew Garfield was like 250, and it only crossed 7 billion, 700 million worldwide, and that was not good. So for this is good for Sony, and Sony was definitely happy.
What do you think, Cyber? That's a hell of a fucking spread, huh? Off that budget, that box office.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it definitely made its money. I mean, going up of $160 million, making 1.1 billion. Yeah, that's huge. Success. I mean, the fact that coming off of Endgame, if you think about it, Endgame made over 2.2 billion. So, I mean, the fact that this still made $1 billion after Endgame came out that same year is pretty damn impressive. So, I think it's a testament to show you that that original line of the Infinity Saga truly was the max, mass quadrant of the MCU in total. I mean, all these movies made so much money. So I think that the fact that, like I said, this coming after post Endgame was still a huge feat, and only being made for 160 million, and they ended up making $1 billion on it. I think that's a pretty good test of showing that the movie was good.
Well, think about it too. Unlike Captain Marvel, we weren't told flat out you have to watch this movie before Endgame, right? There was none of that pressure for people to go buy tickets to go watch this film, right? It was the first MCU film coming off Endgame. It's the most popular Marvel Comics character in history, right? And honestly, he'd already made such an impact on the MCU that that movie really didn't ride off Endgame at all. It did kind of, but like Tom Holland had already established himself, right? That movie was going to make money no matter what. It was people were going to go pay to see that movie, and it's entertaining. That's all I can say. And you know what? With all the CGI in it and whatnot and everything, it's not overdone, but there's a lot of it. Some of those scenes with the elementals, I'm sure, weren't cheap. But with the cast, the cast is not that big. I can't imagine that they would be allotting that much money to the actors and actresses off this. So, I think it makes me wonder the whole relationship with Sony and Marvel Studios, right? Like, did Sony have anything to do with how they reined that budget in and kept it that low, right? Because they easily could have went to the 200 million mark for this film if they wanted to, just to add some more pizzazz or whatever. But no, that was honestly, when Spider-Man makes another 3 movies, this next trilogy, all those movies will do well. People will go see the Spider-Man films. We need another one to kind of reinvigorate the fucking MCU. But no, I just wanted to bring that up because I mean that's like, it's one thing with Endgame, it's one thing with Infinity War. Their budgets were fucking high. This budget was only $160 million. That's a hell of a fucking profit to turn. I think the budget on Captain Marvel was higher than that. I'd have to look that up, but I believe it was.
Yeah, it was. It's sunny around 150 or
where it went. I have no fucking idea.
I don't know, 150 or 200 million, if I remember correctly, in that movie's budget.
Well, when you watch it the first time, you feel like they made it for 7.75 million, right? That's all I can say. So, anyways, from there, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and play our first trailer? Because we got 2 really good ones. I love the Spider-Man Far From Home trailers. They're really good. I love Mysterio.
Oh, yeah.
I love Jake Gyllenhaal in this film. So I'd like to go ahead and watch one, if you guys don't mind.
No, go ahead. I love the first one. The first trailer was good.
I'll pull them up full screen, too, so if anybody wants to get up or whatever, whatnot, spread their legs, they can.
Awesome.
If I could ever just get my MacBook cleaned up and whatnot so I don't have to wade through a bunch of bullshit to find a trailer.
5 years.
What you gotta think about, mate, is this: that you gotta make sure you find the trailer just right so you can find Crocodile Dundee.
What about Kangaroo Jack?
Fuck Kangaroo Jack. We only want Crocodile Dundee.
Yes.
We're gonna review Kangaroo Jack.
Oh God, no, please, no. We're just joking. We don't need. We don't need to charge ourselves Kangaroo Jack.
Oh, we definitely need to do that. We got to.
Kangaroo Jack's coming. It's coming.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
We're due.
That was so good.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
Happy.
You look nice.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. New dress?
Yes, it is. How'd you know?
We're here to pick up a passport, please.
Mini toothpaste? Pack your suit.
I just want to go on my trip with my friends. Europe doesn't really need a friendly neighbor.
Therefore, I have value.
No, that's not
I'm
right.
messing with you. You look pretty too.
I just want to spend some time with MJ. I think she really likes me, dude.
That reminds me when I first fell in love. I had just finished my food copy.
So nice to finally meet you, Spider-Man.
You're Nick Fury.
Put some clothes on. Let's go for a ride.
Is he gonna be okay like that?
Might want to turn him over so he doesn't swallow his tongue.
I think Nick Fury just hijacked our summer vacation.
Awesome! You got gifts, Parker, but you have a job to do. Are you going to step up or not? You're all alone. Your friends are in trouble. What are you going to do about it?
You don't want any part of this.
Who is that guy?
He's like Iron Man and Thor rolled into one.
He's no Spider-Man.
What is it with you and Spider-Man?
What? He looks out for the neighborhood, has a dope suit, and I really respect him. Sup, dickwad?
No, I'm just kidding. No, yeah, I watched Clone Wars, but I mean, I fell asleep a couple times at night on an episode here or there. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so that's why you call him Huang instead of Huang, like everyone else.
Hey, listen, I've caught up hella on Star Wars. Like, compared to where my knowledge was at, like 6 months ago, compared to where I'm at now, I'm way beyond anywhere I was ever at. So, like, I'm quite proud of my Star Wars. Like, I'm selling people on Star Wars now on my own with my Huang shit.
Huang.
I'm probably gonna get like a strike from YouTube for like a racial slur now or some shit like that.
Check.
Yeah.
Huang.
All right. So how do I pronounce it again, Jasmine? Is it? Am I sounding it? Is it Juan?
Does the Android have a nickname? Like, it could be easy for us to say it.
Wang.
Oh my god! I'm sorry. Oh, my bad, folks. Oh my god! Even I fell the fuck out there for a minute. Oh, yes, it's possible. Cyber, I was actually worried about your health on that one, bro. I thought you might fucking die. You know what I'm saying? I'm serious, bro. I was worried about you, man. You know? You're muted, sir.
Because I was laughing so hard?
Yes, you were laughing so hard because once you heard me laughing, you just lost it. You were already laughing. Then you heard me laughing, and then I did that embarrassing little fucking noise I made or whatnot, where I was like, ugh, or whatever. That just like did it.
Yeah, that got me there. Yep, most definitely.
I think I already told Andreas. I think that was literally no joke. I would bet $100 that was literally the most that Jasmine has laughed in probably over a year, right? Literally. I think I even asked him already. I think he already told me that was the most he laughed. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why I told him to come back on the shows, man, and get in here and grind with us, man. You don't need to know about all this shit and whatnot and be an expert on it just to contribute and come on the show and have a good time. Good for you.
Yeah,
you know?
Totally.
You're out good people and whatnot and have a good time.
Yeah,
have good conversations.
Mm-hmm.
It's positive for your life.
Well, as Andres has said online, he's calling me Professor Cybers in the house. So I just want to make sure that people realize I am Professor Cyber now.
I like Professor Cyber, actually.
Yeah.
Please.
I think that's very apropos, actually, Cyber. I feel a connection there with the whole Professor Cyber thing.
Yeah.
I prefer being Professor Cyber sometimes.
I like that, actually.
He's a Time Lord now.
What did I tell you, Cyber? With fucking Andres, you never know. In one given show, you might end up with like 6 different titles for people and him, right? New nicknames, everything, and whatnot. Just the things he says.
Well, I think Professor Cyber will stay the most. I think, yes.
We'll see. We'll see about that. We'll call them new ones.
Cyber. I love how you filled in the gaps and whatnot, and decided to jump in and whatnot, and get in on the humor game and whatnot with me, brother. It's nice to see the balance, bruh. I like it, especially when you moderate. It's good. It's nice.
Well, there's time for fun and time to be serious. So I figured, why not put more of the element of comedy into it?
I do miss Jasmine, Tranny Jasmine. I miss having a tranny guest and whatnot because I miss her fucking disturbing Chewbacca like impersonation. That shit was fucking disturbingly good, dude. It sounded just like Chewbacca. And we were in the studio, Andreas, before a show, talking shit. She actually said right in front of a couple other guests that never been on that that she would what'd she say, Cyber? She would suck fucking King Kong's dick or something like that, or I don't even know. She was like glug glug glug, like making noises.
Oh god, he's frozen.
Oh, I was wondering why you were saying anything, Cyber. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't think I'd say anything wrong.
I think it's not even. Oh no, he's
there.
Not,
he is. Cyber, whose dick was Jasmine going to suck that night or whatever? Was it Chewbacca or was it King Kong?
I thought it was Chewbacca's.
It was Chewbacca, and when I mentioned Chewbacca, she was like, I'd be all about it. Remember, she was and all this shit. She was funny as shit sometimes, man. You just never knew what the hell she would look like when she showed up for a show. She'd be out with some like hairnet type shit on her couch with her cats. At least we don't have Alexis anymore with their fucking dogs, man. That shit was something else.
Yep.
Talk about having a rough show, Andres, when you got somebody who starts off moderating the show over me and it's a dog. Remember that show, Cyber? The dog took over and like jumped in before me. I was like, fuck, I guess the dog's gonna moderate.
That was every time those stupid dogs were always barking. Ugh.
I know. Do you know what?
It didn't make the show go very smoothly.
Yeah, you know what? Now I don't give a fuck. Fuck Mark Rutledge and fuck Rutledge Broadcasting Network. It's personal beef between me and Mark. It ain't nothing where I got to name him or whatever, whatnot, or get into it. I'm not going to be doing any live streaming on his ass. It's personal. It's the kind of shit where, like, the dirty shit to where if I ever fucking came within reach of him or whatnot, just like I've said before, but like you wouldn't hear about it, right? I would smoke his ass real quick. And I already told him that too because of his bullshit, man. Manipulating fucking like scumbag motherfucker, bro. You know what I'm saying? Talking about I offered him a pass, a VIP pass to Rockville or whatever, whatnot. But he was one that put me on the spot and whatnot at a concert for free that I already bought tickets for him for that concert. That asshole. Why he's putting up pictures on Facebook every day of these big steaks he's eating and whatnot, everything. And the 27 concerts he's gone to in the last 3 months. What a prick. I'm telling you, folks. It's unfortunate. But what can you do? Fuck Mark, you bastard. But I talked to Jesse Starcher. We're good. Anyways, that's all that matters. We love Jesse. So, moving on. There's no Mark Rutledge in Spider-Man Far From Home. I guarantee you, I promise. But let's see, since some scene I don't know about. I don't think Mark would last very long with me either. After what I saw at the concert with him, bro. Cyber, I don't think Mark and I it would be a very long scrap between me and Mark. I'm calling it at like 20 seconds. Right? That's all it would take, probably. It'd be over. He'd be on the ground. He'd be screaming and crying and shit like a little girl. You think cancer's bad, bitch? Taste some pain. Anyways, bottom line, folks. Oh, shit. I looked down and saw that the fucking video file down there. I thought another person was there. Man. I thought it was Lord Deathman, Cyber. But no, so as far as Spider-Man goes, now, this movie, again, it's entertaining. It's not epic like Spider-Man 3. It is an evolution. Would you guys agree, Andreas? It's definitely a step up from Spider-Man 1, I believe. Now, again, I'm just saying it evolves. The film evolves from movie to movie, from 1 to 2 to 3. I felt like they evolved the character. They evolved the secondary characters, right? They evolved his story. I'm not saying it's a better film or a lesser film.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess, I think this movie is important how No Way Home shapes up, because this movie does a good job of setting up the MJ and Peter relationship. That's the one thing I actually appreciate about rewatching this movie is that, because I mean, Zendaya is a great actress, and I think she has great chemistry with Tom Holland, and I think that this movie did a really good job of making this character MJ really great, because I all of us were kind of okay with her character in Homecoming. I mean, she didn't have much to do in that movie, but here I think she has more to do here, and develop her more of a character, and like her relationship, her feelings towards Peter was more realized, and I think that's the best part about this movie as well for me. Besides Mysterio, I think the relationship stuff is actually great in this film that will make us really like what No Way Home does, and I think this movie does a good job of setting that up.
I like the fact that they're kids and they didn't even really explain why they're all of a sudden he's into her, right? They just went right to it because that's how it is with kids, right?
Yeah, that's true. I thought it was a problem, and then I was kind of thinking myself, I was like, nah, it happens with us.
No, this is a problem.
He dedicates 8 hours a day role-playing as a toddler.
That's a problem. No. Anyways, go ahead.
Yes. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm trying.
If you become that, that's a problem.
Yeah. If you haven't grown up, so yes, that's very true. No, Jeff, you did something good tonight.
You can't put professor in front of your name if you pull off that clip.
No. Anyway, no. Yeah, I think this movie does a good job of evolving itself into the MCU and take Peter in some direction, but as a follow up to Homecoming, it's
okay. All right. Cyber, you get what I'm trying to say. They evolved his arc from film to film. Well, I thought at least, right? I'm not saying I'm not comparing the two films. I think Spider-Man 1 is better than Spider-Man 2. I do. But I'm just saying that I believe that they did do a good job trying to carry over and grow his arc among his trilogy while he's a part of the MCU in whole, right? And the secondary characters and whatnot. They carried the story over from film to film well.
I'm going
to Cyber.
Yeah, Cyber's move. No.
Well, don't worry there, Sir Time Lord, Sir Time Cop.
You go to the bottom. You go to the bottom, bitch.
You'll get a second chance, sir. So Professor Cyber's here to talk. So I'm sorry, Jeff. What's the question?
I'm not comparing the films. I'm saying I thought they did a good job at the very least in this movie with it being entertaining. It might not be as good as the first one. I don't think it is, or the third one. But I do think it's entertaining, and they did a good job. I thought at least considering the fact that this is his own contained trilogy, Tom Holland Spider-Man, and he's also a heavy participant in the MCU at this point, right? They did a good job carrying his arc over from film to film, right? Evolving it. And evolving the secondary characters, the high school set, right? Just in general, the storyline. They carried it over well and evolved it, I thought, from film to film.
Yeah, I'd have to agree that the evolution of this Peter Parker definitely evolved it into this film. I mean, honestly, I feel they made him a little too whiny for me in particular, because like his whole it's too much, I can't handle it. It's like, you've been talking about in the first film how much you're ready to be an Avenger. Then you become an Avenger, and then you're going to be a whiny little bitch. So, I definitely feel like his story arc, I get it, like how they did it and everything. But at the same time, I think, I agree with you that, yes, his story evolved from the first film into the second film, making him more Spider-Man and Spider-Man. Kind of like what, No Way Home did, too, as well. That story arc was continued and kind of given a completion in that film. So I definitely agree there. Yeah, it did evolve between these two films, and definitely Homecoming was a far superior film to this one.
Better written, much better writing, right? But again, they set him up well for the third film, right? For him to get to the point where now we're going to get the college age Peter Parker, which I'm really excited for the next Spider-Man trilogy, folks. I remain optimistic about the MCU, and I don't know how you can't be optimistic about another Spider-Man trilogy, right? It's going to be great. I can't wait. Those will be some good films, man. Who knows? Maybe they'll even bring Raimi back in there to direct one of them. But here, let me even things back out. So, all right, picking back up and getting right into it so I can get right back to y'all, right? So, Peter crosses over for his trip, right? And after, you know, just basically settling in and whatnot and everything, and going through some shenanigans and bullshit with the, you know, with the chaperones and the other students, you know, basically he goes out to buy a necklace for MJ, and with her runs into his first elemental in Venice, a water elemental. Now these scenes with the elementals were great, man. It was tough to not use one of them for the thumbnail because there were some good shots in the trailer of those monsters, man. They were great. Really good. But so, you know, we get this elemental attack. It's knocking down buildings and shit and whatnot and everything. Mysterio pops out. Peter doesn't have his suit, so he has to wear this stupid mask. I didn't like that either. That kind of made him look like a dumbass. Like he couldn't do anything better than that. But either way, he puts a mask on and helps out with Mysterio, who makes this heroic entrance and whatnot and gets all the media attention and shit and kind of wins and beats the elemental. Now we get Nick Fury's involvement, right? When we get the scene where he tranks Ned, right? And says, you know, you've been avoiding my calls, and decide lets him know he's got to use him. He's got to put him in action, right? There's a threat here in Europe and whatnot, everything, and they need him. So, you know, he gives them the glasses from Tony, right? The Judith glasses, the ones that he stupidly for some reason decides to give to Mysterio, and that makes no sense at all. I noticed that during the film today. I'm like, why did he do that? Like, you know, like that was just, you know, kind of contrived. But so he receives the glasses without really understanding the full impact of what they can do yet. And from there, we get what I think is one of the best scenes in the movie in terms of really good dialogue with a lot of different main characters from the film and from the MCU together in one extended scene. And that's the, you know, after getting the Edith glasses, you know, and the pressure on Peter to step into Stark's shoes, you know, we get the Prague incident, you know, the fire elemental attack during a school trip. And this is before, or to be after, he has this really great scene where he meets Quentin Beck, Mysterio, in person, right? And he explains that he's actually not from the 616 Earth, right? He's from like the 913, or I don't even know. I can't remember which one he said. And, you know, and we believe, they give off the impression, Fury does, and the whole team, you know, wherever they are at this point, they're not S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore. But, you know, Maria Hill, Fury seem to trust him 100%. He pulls up these schematics and whatnot, everything, and shows that these elementals came from his Earth, where, like, he fought the last stand against them and they destroyed his planet, right? How he ended up, I forget how he got over here or even got here. I have no fucking idea. But it seems very believable. The first time I watched it, I believed it 100%. I was like, okay, it's multiverse, baby, right? Like it's real, it's legit. It seemed very straight to me, and he comes off like a really nice fucking guy too, like a real, like, you know. Of course, that's part of the hustle, right? His whole stand-up guy routine, which we find out later. But Peter's almost kind of impressed by him and sees him almost as kind of like another quasi mentor, you know, or like a comrade, right? Someone he respects. You know, he saw what he did against the first elemental and whatnot and everything. You know, he can fly. He looks great in his suit. They killed it with that suit, baby. Killed it with the suit. But that was a great scene. We come off that, right? And then we do get into essentially, you know, before the fire elemental attack during the school trip, Peter gets a really great scene where Fury has some chick give him a suit, right? And she like says he has to undress right in front of her to put it on. And right when he does that, what's his name? That little bitch dude runs in. What's his name? What is that little bitch dude that sees Peter putting on the suit, and whatnot, everything, and goes and peeps to Mary Jane?
Mark or something like that.
Mark, whatever. He catches and takes a picture of like Peter undressed in front of this fine ass European chick, right? And he's like, I've got to tell MJ. So
Brad.
Yeah. So then we get him activating Edith on the bus, right? And like actually firing, like, setting off like a strike, like a drone strike or whatever, whatnot, to target him and take him out. He has to work his way through that and starts to understand the full extent of the glasses. So at that point, we move forward. We do get the fire elemental attack during the school trip. And I'll stop there, right? At the fire elemental attack during the school trip, right? Right before that occurs. That attack, right? He's got the black suit by now. Starting with you, Andreas. Your thoughts are on that swath of the film. It's a big swath. So feel free to, lay it out.
Okay. So I think this is good. Yeah, good sequence. There's just some jokes I don't care. I agree with Jeff. I don't care about this Bragg storyline that just did. It's very typical, like if you've seen like a John Hughes film or those teen films like I do, it's very typical. We have like the jerky character who likes this character, and then he does something that's very mean, and that's his role here, Brad, and it's just very funny. like what I mean, look, John Watts and Marvel stated that these two Spider-Man films were teen comedy age films, so that's what we're gonna get. And was it necessary to have this Brad character? No, but it's there and whatnot, so it's okay. I really didn't care for that. Especially seeing Peter take his hands on with an older lady is like, wow.
Oh, she was hot.
I mean, yeah. I mean, yes, Jeff. I know she's hot, but think about what kind of movie we're watching. Anyway, I don't like. I like Nick Fury, but I don't like how this movie handles Nick Fury. I mean, we're gonna get into the twist, which I'm just kind of shocked that they did a twist, but of Nick Fury and Marie Hill, I feel like it was unnecessary. I don't think you really needed Nick Fury in this film because they're so pointless in this film because they're Saber brought up how whining Pierre is, but my problem with this movie is how dumb Pierre is. He risked his secret identity multiple times. You talk about the water fight element, the water element creature, which by the way, great acting scene. I love that acting scene. But him wearing that what was it, jester mask was so stupid. He's letting his secret identity.
I know it totally. I'm sorry, Andreas. I just want to point out because I know that you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's very comic book inaccurate because in the comics, Peter always has web slingers. He always could have webs. So if anything, if he had to, he would make a web mask. Remember?
Yes, actually, that's a good point. He could have done that, right, for this film. Yeah. So that's my issue with that sequence. Is he's taking a risk for his secret identity, and I don't know why, because he's I don't know if they were saying that up because of the post-credit scene with his reveal, which I don't think so. I think they were being very lazy and not being careful with the secret identity in this movie, but whatever. It was really bad. I just think Pierre is not being smart in this film, and I don't like that. That's one of my issues with this film is that they take the character too far, being dumb. Besides that, yeah, and then the drone attack, really, Pierre, I was just so dumbfounded what he was doing. I mean, I could do that to someone, but not the way Peter did it in this movie. So it's kind of a little bizarre. Now Mysterio meeting Peter, that I really like. I think the sequence, like Jake, just solves how, like, he solves everything. Like, this is from a multiverse thing. He's from another planet, and like he had like a family. Like, all that goes very well. So I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal is a great actor. I mean, he's been, earlier, Jeff, you brought up how like he always been, like he's been, always been the studio's choice of being in a superhero film. He once he was in line to be Batman in Batman Begins. He almost replaced Toby in Spider-Man 2 to be Spider-Man. So it was kind of fun that he actually got to be a villain here in Spider-Man film. That was really nice. I think Jake was great in that sequence, and he has good chemistry with Tom Holland, which is good. When we get to Peter handing, back the glasses, yes, I agree, it is stupid, but at the same time, he had reasons to give it to him because he was more responsible, and he reminded him so much of Tony. That makes sense, like why he gave it to him. But it was very dumb. But yeah, overall, this sequence is okay. When we got to the fire element, that was where the movie picks up for me. This sequence I just don't like. I think it's okay, but yeah. So that's my opinion on this sequence.
Cyberneticshark, sir, your thoughts. And also, I just want to point out that you can't blame Peter, because one thing about Peter Parker, Spider-Man, is that he's always going to help out when there's danger and there's innocent people like at stake, right? Like he's gonna act no matter what, as secret identity or not. But go ahead, Cyber.
Refresh my memory where we're going to, sir.
From where we stopped, going into the fire elemental battle. Okay. So basically, coming off.
So I mean, this section.
Go ahead. I apologize.
That's great. So I mean, we get that great kind of like airplane sequence where they're all on the airplane. Of course, Flash is trying to have a drink, and MJ goes, "He's not actually 21," and he gets screwed over on that. Then Ned tries to help Peter out by getting him closer to MJ, and that backfires, and they all get stuck with people they don't want to be stuck next to. But because, that ends up leading in Ned's favor, because after they get off the flight, now he's in a relationship with the news girl, which was absolutely hilarious. And so you got kind of that great kind of funny thing going on when they first get off the flight, and Peter's kind of like, huh? Like kind of thinking to himself, he's like, what the hell's going on here? And he's kind of like, Ned, what about being a single guy in Europe and stuff? He's like, oh, love blossoms. He's like, and you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, Ned. And of course, you get your kind of great sequence, them getting off the airplane, getting through the airport. We kind of get to see a little bit of the area they're in. We have, them going off to different places, stuff like that. MJ and, of course, Peter are kind of hanging out together. People are taking pictures. Of course, we get Martin Starr's character losing his camera into the water, which was absolutely hilarious. And then, of course, we get our first kind of elemental real battle, I would just say. And, we get our first the water element of the elementals. And, Peter, trying to help, he grabs that stupid gesture mask that he looks so stupid in. And I agree there 100%. And we get kind of that great kind of like action sequence there, and he's like wrapping his web around all the buildings that are basically getting messed up by the elemental guy there. Peter decides to try to help too as well. That's when, we get our first really take of Mysterio popping up, and he, says, I can help. I'm really strong and really sticky. And so he's like, lead him away from the canal. And so we get that kind of battle. We get that kind of funny moment where Peter keeps hitting his head in the bell, which was really funny. And he's like trying to save all these buildings stuff, wrapping stuff around. It's not really working very well. But Mysterio's battling it and stuff like that. And basically, they end up leading it to an area where they're able to defeat it, basically. And that's kind of where we get kind of introduced to Beck. a little bit more afterwards. We get our introduction to Fury, and him talking with Peter about him being ghosted. And that's when Ned gets, of course, shot with that dart, which was really funny. And, they basically go to that command center, and he meets back there, Mysterio from another Earth, the whole multiverse kind of being awoken, for the next phase of the MCU there. Because that was kind of like, I felt that was kind of like the opening into them saying that the next portion was going to be the multiverse, talking about that and stuff like that. And we get kind of that backstory about him from the other Earth, battling these elementals and stuff like that. And, you kind of get that feeling. Yes, Beck seems like a good guy. He seems like he's, a good guy, which I remember when watching it in the theaters going, wait a second, Mysterio's a fucking bad guy. What the hell's going on here? Why is he a good guy? I'm like, I'm so confused here. And I'm like, is this all a ploy? Like, I know he's a master of illusion, but still, I'm like, what's going on here? And so back in my mind, I was like thinking, there's some more to this guy that meets the eye. He's bad, I bet. And so, after they get their kind of powwow going, Peter goes back to the group and stuff like that, and they get tickets, basically, free upgrades by Fury's account because he needs Peter to be in certain places. So they end up taking a bus trip. And they end up going to and stopping at a little village or whatever, and that's where Peter gets his new monkey suit, Night Monkey. And I was kind of when he gets
Night Monkey, baby,
just the freaking all black suit. I'm just kind of like, that don't look like anything. What is that? Like, it just looks like some dude in a ski mask, basically. And so, like, when he he meets that. Whatever foreign chick that is giving him the suit. I made you a new suit, and she's just kind of like standing there, and you're like looking at her, going, very nice, very nice. You want me to put you on? Oh, you mean the suit? Yes. And so she ends up telling you, try it on now, do it. And he starts to undress, and that one fruity guy comes in, and he's like, oh, takes a picture and stuff. It's like, dude, like. Really? Like, you're that desperate to get MJ that you're willing to do that to another dude? That, like, bro code, bro code. And so it's kind of like, what the hell? Like, and so he's like, tells him, like, I got to do what's right for MJ and stuff like that. And you're just kind of like feeling for Peter. You're like, you one dumb motherfucker. And so it's like, it's that scene, and then the bus sequence where Peter uses Edith to try to help him get out of this situation is absolutely hilarious. And he like sets a drone onto wanting to destroy Brad. Unfortunately, you're kind of like, no. And we got that great sequence where he like makes the bus, change course and jumps up and shoots the drone and stuff like that, which was really cool. I thought that was fun. And everyone totally oblivious to this when it's happening within like 2 feet of them, which I don't know how that was possible. Like, they did not see shit. I was like cracking up going, there's no way he could be that stealthy in this situation. And I don't get how nobody saw anything. And so, he ends up fixing it and not killing Brad, but, deleting the photo from his phone. And we see Brad fumbling like, I had it right here and blah, 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 and stuff like that. And him looking like a douche. And basically, that leads them to go to the next area that they were going to, where they get their new accommodations. We get that little scene kind of where they're at the hotel and they talk about Mysterio and stuff like that. And basically, they end up getting tickets to this opera that night. And everyone's like, we don't want to go to opera. We never have wanted to go to opera. It's like, but this is culture, Martin Starr says, and stuff like that, and which is absolutely hilarious. And like, so they go to this opera, and MJ and Peter decide, oh, we're going to slip out. And so the others follow. And they end up, that's when Peter ends up finding out that there's another elemental coming and that he has to, basically battle it. And basically that's Ned and Newsgirl are stuck up in a crane or up in a carousel when the new elemental shows up. and Peter and Mysterio go into action, and we have that great kind of battle sequence with the lava elemental, which was really cool. And basically, he ends up saving the day. Mysterio ends up using his ultimate power to stop him because he mentions that earlier. He's like, I should have stopped this guy the last time, and then my family would have been here and shit like that. And they end up stopping him, and end up winning the day. So I'll stop there. You didn't go past that, right? Where they have the conversation at the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Where we get where Peter's pussy hurts, right? And he gives him the glasses and shit and all that. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk too much about that one. Now you guys can talk all about it. It was okay when I saw it, like the first time I watched it and whatnot, but it kind of doesn't play all that well over time. Peter's a sap in this fucking movie, like you said, Cyber. He really is. Some of the shit's just really stupid, man. Right? Like, I would think that something was off with like this whole Quentin Beck guy. He comes out of fucking nowhere, bro. Also from the multiverse and shit and whatnot, right? I get it that like Nick Fury trusts him and shit and whatnot and all that. He fussed with Fury, so of course Peter's gonna look up to his elders and all that. But still, though, I mean, seriously, the guy just comes in there like Jesus Christ and whatnot, everything like killing these elementals and shit out of nowhere. I'd be a little bit suspicious, right? Like, being all nice and shit, wanting to be, Peter's brother and father and all this crap and friend. So either way, Andres, did you have any other words on the battle against the fire elemental?
No. I think it's a great sequence. I really like the sequence. It's definitely the best. I mean, there's one when we get to it. It's one of the best moments of this movie. Yeah, this is the second best sequence for this film. This is really great, and the CGI is really good. Like, I mean, the CGI here is really awesome for the film. It's very consistent, so it hasn't been like what's been like today with the awful CGI of this past 2 years. All that. So I don't know. The sequence is great.
Okay. Now, basically, before I play our next trailer here soon, as we move forward off the fire elemental battle, we're already getting heavy hints throughout the film already that MJ basically knows that Peter is Spider-Man, right? Like they make that sort of like clear almost from jump, I believe, in the film. Basically, we do get this emotional moment where Peter's overwhelmed and everything and whatnot, right? And he has a heart-to-heart with Quentin, right? Out on like a balcony. Then they go over to a bar and all that, right? And he gives them Judith. It kind of rolls it up and says, I'm going to hand over the keys to you, right? Well, from there, we find out very quickly, and these are the scenes that really didn't do much for me, where we find out that Quentin Beck is actually the antagonist. And everything blows up because it turns out he's just some ex-fucking employee of Stark, Industries, whatever, whatnot, that has a bone to pick with Tony Stark because he fired him, right? Over the fucking, the barf technology, right? Called it barf. And that's just like, I lost it with that shit, right? Like, it didn't do much for me. We see his whole team, and it turns out that all this shit is basically somewhat illusional. And he's using these drones, right? How he was able to knock down buildings and shit without the drones, without Edith or anything like that, whatnot. I don't know how he was able to do that. I never understood that. How they're able to use these digital effects and smoke and shit, whatnot, and still yet have the elementals knock down buildings physically. I never got that, unless that was an illusion. I don't know. But there are some interesting parts of the final third of the film, but there's not a ton of them. And basically, we find out very quickly who Quentin Beck really is. And this is all basically a ruse, right? To take advantage of a very publicly known situation, right? That Beck would be privy to, and that would be the fact that, Spider-Man's young, Peter Parker's young, right? He idolizes Tony Stark, Iron Man, he's dead. He takes advantage of him, right? And he tries to come off with his team as if like he doesn't want to have to kill Peter, right? But I don't really believe that. He seems like a pretty maniacal guy. And for a while there, I thought we might get him back in the MCU, but now I don't see it happening. But basically, so we get, you know, the revealing of who Mysterio really is, the explanation of his background, best background, and the resentment towards Tony. We get the illusion and battle in Berlin. You know, Peter's confrontation with Mysterio's illusions, which were great. Those were great scenes. That I really enjoyed visually. Visually stunning and very interesting. Right? A good way to fight, you know, a sort of battle, I guess. You know, Beck manipulating him and, you know, Peter's defeat. You know, and basically having, you know, having Edith, I'm sorry, you know, now under his control, Beck using the drones and like the Stark tech against Peter, right? To assist what he already has going on with his team. So essentially, you know, we end up with Peter and MJ's relationship, right? MJ revealing that she deduces Peter's identity as Spider-Man and is known for quite a while. He admits, and she does as well, their growing bond and Peter's vulnerabilities. And they have their first kiss, right? And then before we get to the final showdown in London, where we have the climax, you know, where there's the sort of the final battle. Why don't we stop there? I'll go to you, Cyberneticshark. We're going off of the fire elemental, covering the Peter has his period scenes with Quentin Beck, and gives them, you know, Edith. And then the flip of the script when we find out everything, the whole rug gets pulled out on Mysterio and everything and whatnot. We see his team, who he really is, what his motivations are, you know, and then going into everything that happens before the sort of climax or final battle against Mysterio and the drones.
All right. So this section of the film kind of, you know, starts to, you know, collect it, make it, you know, more cohesive of a film, you know, giving us our kind of our ending sequence of this film to kind of give you more what's going on. I mean, after the bar sequence, which Peter, you know, like everyone's saying, yeah, Peter is such a stupid ass for giving away Edith to Mysterio to begin with, because he doesn't want to deal with it because, you know, he's just a kid. And, you know, you get that scene, which was just like, you could totally tell it was staged. And, you know, after Peter leaves and you find out that it was staged and that, yes, Peter Beck is actually really a bad guy. And his whole team and everything is comprised of people that Tony Stark got made angry because he fired them for some sort of reason. And, you know, that kind of drew away from the film. Make it seem like really a revenge film. Like, really? Like, I feel that could have been better written. And so it's like, you know, you lead up to that and you get that kind of that backstory there showing them, you know, what it's all about, and them kind of getting prepared for the final battle as well, showing back playing with the different things and stuff like that after having Edith and stuff like that. And you're just kind of like, interesting. Yeah, if he didn't have those, I thought the same thing. Like, how did he break stuff? How did he get things to break like that and stuff like that? Did he have other drones himself and stuff like that? So I was kind of thinking the same thing. Like, how did he do it before then if he didn't have these drones to begin with? And so you're kind of thinking, like, did he already have some Tony Stark tech that, you know, we don't know about and stuff like that? So I find that definitely interesting as well, like you were saying before, Jeff. And so that sequence is quite interesting. You know, him showing his true evil self, really. We have, of course, you know, MJ and Peter getting closer. We have them kind of go out, and he's about to tell her how he really feels about her, and she thinks that he's going to tell him that he's Spider-Man, and he's like, no, I'm not Spider-Man, you know. And they end up finding that piece from the elemental battle of that tech, and you know, basically you know, figure things out, and you know, finally he says, oh yes, I am, you know, Spider-Man, basically. And you know, basically that whole little section really does bring it to kind of like starts to get you to that final battle, which I think is probably the best part of the film. And I think it was decent, pretty decent.
Andreas, sir, your thoughts?
Yeah. Okay. So I actually like I mean, I knew from the beginning Mysterio was going to be the villain. It's not a big surprise. I mean, if you're a comic book fan like me or Jeff and Cyber, you know, like it was pretty obvious he was going to be the villain. What I like about the scene is just how how over the top Jack Gyllenhaal delivers the speech. It's so funny, and I just like that reveal. It's just so good, and just how like, especially the guy. What is it? That's from the first Iron Man movie. I laughed so hard when we saw him, like, and then using the clip from the first Iron Man movie, from Stain. Tony Stark built this in a cave, a bunch of scraps, and I was like, oh, it's that guy, and that was funny, and I like that, you know. So it was kind of cool. As always, I mean, Mysterio, when Mysterio does create his solutions, it's always unexplained. I do agree with you guys. Like, yeah, how did he, before getting Edith, cause that discussion? You know, like he, you know, brought up, you know, drones. Like we see it in the bar, you know, after that reveal. But I do kind of question it. It's like, well, like did you stole some Stark technology after he, you know, Tony Stark dies? Or why not? You know, like I did find that very bizarre. So I do agree with you guys that it's a very plot hole. Like, what the hell? How this guy can create these illusions and can, you know, cause destruction. But besides that, I forgive it because I think that Jake Gyllenhaal is a great actor. I think he performs like so great in this film. I can forgive those like plot holes. But yeah, and then when we get into the scene with, you know, Peter, you know, MJ talking to each other, I really like that scene because it's very sweet, tender, and like you see their relationship start to like blossom really good. And I think that oh really? Oh my god, rather internet. Anyway, I thought that sequence was really good with MJ and Peter, and you know, and of course, you know, Peter being dumb, like he just realized now that he gave the glasses to this now like crooked Quentin Beck. So I mean, what are you gonna do? And then after that, when he starts to suit up as Night Mikey. By the way, Night Mikey, I don't like the name. I hate that it became such a popular meme. I like the black suit, you know, whatever. I thought that, you know, was okay, but when he goes to Berlin and meets, you know, Nick, but then it's actually a trap from Mysterio. That's my favorite sequence of the film. Just Mysterio messing up Peter with these illusions is so great. We get the image of like the dead.
I know. I thought that was Mystique.
Yeah. What? No. Please, no. We're serious this time. Mystique. I mean, hey, if you have Mystique in this movie, then that could have been.
Only Andres would then jump inside Professor Cyber and actually go on a tangent about what if, the joke person was actually in the film, right?
Yeah, true. I mean, well, which Mystique?
It'd be improved, possibly.
Improved. Yeah, it'd be improved better. But no. If you
the 13-year-old completely uncontributable in combat rogue version.
And they from
the Fox X-Men films, the rogue that shouldn't even been in the movies.
Oh yeah, okay.
That version.
The Jennifer Lawrence one or the Rebecca Romaine? I will pick Rebecca.
It's a joke. I'm saying the stupid actress. What's her name from?
House.
The one from the vampire show on HBO, True Blood.
Oh,
Sookie.
Anna Paquin.
Anna Paquin. She played that stupid rogue character in the original Fox X-Men films and whatnot that had no real powers. She couldn't fly or she had no super strength or nothing.
Yeah. Well, because
that version.
Yeah, that version. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Well, it was funny, like, because her character is supposed to take Captain Marvel's power. Carol Danvers. That's how she fly. When we get to X-Men, the animated series, season 2 actually explains how she fly and be that badass. So Jeff, you're gonna like that episode. Anyway, so after that, the illusion attack by Mysterio is so great. I really dug it. Picking up what I left off I was talking about was the dead zombie Iron Man. That was a cool image, and I really dug that. And I agree with Cyber that third act is really great. Like, the action is really good. But I kind of wish we did something more creative with that third act. Like, I wish that Beck used more illusions to attack Peter, because that whole sequence is just like drones attacking, Spider-Man, and with fire, bullets, like it's okay, but I kind of wish we did something more creative with that third final act with Mysterio, like him, like releasing like crazy like illusions, like Doctor Strange level, like batshit crazy. And I think you couldn't make this movie more awesome. But anyway, I thought this part was great. What we got from Mysterio doing his illusions, and the way he tricked Peter in revealing who he tell about this, evidence. It was a great send off from that sequence, and him just sending Peter getting hit by a train was like, whoa, great. So, what was the final mark, Jeff? The stopping point
before the final battle, before the climax of the film. So when Peter gets defeated there.
Okay, so when he gets, he wakes up in prison, in Finland? It was Norway or something like that. He meets these couple of nice Finland people in jail, and then the guy who arrested him put his mask and jacket, which is hilarious. Then he calls Happy, and then you get Happy. This is where I really like the Happy and Peter relationship. I think this is the sequence that's really great. I know a lot of people didn't like the Iron Man shooter kind of thing. I don't think this is the sequence is telling that. I mean, Peter is Peter. He's making his fireman suit. I dug the black and red suit here. This is my personal favorite live action suit, besides the Andrew Garfield one. And I like how he adds the white stuff, because that's from the PS4 Spider-Man game. So that's really cool. But yeah. So when he talks to Happy, he's not ready. He's not the next Iron Man. Like, I get that, and I think there's a good tender scene between him and Happy, because they become like a father and son kind of relationship. After the next movie, which is gonna be awesome. But yeah, so this sequence here are my favorite of Far From Home and the finale. So I really dug this. I really like it. Yes, there's problems. Like, I agree with you, Jeff and Cyber. Like, how the hell, like, Mysterio has these technology, and how he can, cause the destruction with these drones. Like, I don't know. It's a big buff.
When you watch the movie a second time, a third time, you do start to notice some of the flaws in the plot towards the end there.
Yeah. It doesn't take away my enjoyment. I mean, it's something that's going to be a problem with Mysterio. Like, I do have this question every time we use him in the comics and the TV shows. But that's what he is. Oh, and last thing, I want to talk about the Tony thing. I do agree. I didn't like it when I first saw it that he was another Tony Stark hater. At the same time, it's like, if you read the comic books, a lot of supervillains have this. So this was kind of like a typical comic book thing that
it would make sense in that industry, Andreas, if you think about it, that there would be beef like that and whatnot and everything between people who get fired or have this, discrepancies and whatnot with big companies like that. Tony did business with a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the part I do like about this version of Mysterio, is that aspect. I feel like if they delved in a bit better with that in this movie, I think I could have been like, all of us could have been more accepted with the whole like revenge on Tony Stark, But I was fine with that. But it is an issue because it doesn't nearly come as great as Vulture hating Tony Stark. Because with Vulture, I totally get it. And like they made a comment about the rich versus the middle class so much better than I think this movie did, where what's the corporate versus the employee, but yeah, so overall I really like these sequence. They're my favorite of Far From Home. Like, this is where I actually enjoyed the movie more, and when you get to the third act, this is where I love this film.
Okay. I will say that honestly, up until the point where his character sort of collapses when he avails himself as the sort of antagonist and villain, Jake Gyllenhaal was killing it as Mephisto. He was so much better than the Mephisto in the comic, or the Mysterio in the comics ever. Mysterio in the comics kind of stunk sometimes. He wasn't all that interesting, really, as a villain.
Yeah,
Jake Gyllenhaal made him great. Yeah.
Yeah.
For a minute there.
Yeah. In the comics, like
the comics, the way that they do the final battle without everything, and when Peter loses, is very, very comic book like connected, because that's exactly what Mysterio would do against Spider-Man in a battle. He would use his visual effects and shit, whatnot, props and all that crap with him.
Yes, yeah, that's the part I liked about that. Yeah, I was gonna bring up that if people don't know, like Mysterio usually is like a visual effects person, like. That's how to use illusions.
He's an expert. Yep.
Yeah, expert. And I didn't mind the change here. Like, it makes sense,
No, but going to you, Cyber, I'll tell you, I think it wouldn't surprise me if maybe the Beck guy stole all that gear while working for Tony, right? Bought some of it, maybe stole some of it, right? You know how easy it is if you're working for a certain company and whatnot. People don't pay attention to steal job materials off jobs and shit like that, whatnot, all that. It happens, right?
Yep. Yeah, totally. What are we talking about? The final battle?
We're going to get into the final battle. I just wanted to bring that part. I wanted to bring that part up because you were like, kind of like, 50-50 on that whole thing. Like, where did he get all that gear and all that tech? Like, my thing was, why do all these fucking people want to work for him? Or like, how is he paying them? Like, what are they getting out of this? Right? Like, they're all disgruntled against Tony. He fucked them all over.
I mean, yes. I mean, the guy who was from the first Iron Man movie, like he got fired because of what he did with Sting, which is like unfair. He was directed from orders to make this.
No, I'm just saying I couldn't get that part though. Like, why his team was so like down for the cause, like Cyber, with all his bullshit, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was a dick.
Yeah,
you'd be surprised how easy people are influenced when they have hatred in their heart because they were fired of some sort. You know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of like all these people. Like, I put it as an example, like, is all these people that follow these cults. They say just the right thing, and it gets that person to listen. And I think that's what Beck basically did. Hence, that was kind of, I feel, his illusion,
because he had that. It wasn't just the illusion with the effects. He had that manipulative ability that he used with Peter too, and Nick Fury, right? He had that manipulative ability with his speech, right, and his demeanor and whatnot, right? It's all part of his hustle. And they were all were disgruntled. I remember they all were. They all had some beef with Tony for some reason, right? They just weren't as dedicated as him. He was like willing to go to like balls to the wall on shit, right? But basically, I'm not going to say much about the climax because y'all are going to just fill it in for me anyway. The movie is pretty simple from here on out. It's been pretty simple the whole time. It is an entertaining film. I think that the climax of the film, the sort of final battle, is pretty solid. Good ending, right? And so basically, we get the climax. Peter battles against Mysterio. He through his friends, through MJ, through Ned, through not yet revealed as a Skrull Nick Fury, right? Like he manages to grow a pair and fight back, right? And we get the final climax where it's Peter against Mysterio and the drones, right? Through Edith, through Tony's tech. And we see Peter's sort of ingenuity and maturity and growth, like as a young man and as Spider-Man, right? And we get our first taste of him really like upset and mad and angry, right? Like actually like wanting to like, deal out punishment, right? And like pay back his combatant for, or like the villain for mistreating him, right? And, taking advantage of him and whatnot, making him look bad, he found a reason to fight, essentially, right? He had a reason. He was inspired suddenly. And at that point, I like how it ends up with, him all bloody and beaten up and shit and whatnot from the drones with Mysterio and whatnot, and them facing off and him using the drones against him, right? It is very ingenuitive, but of course, right, Peter's the guy that actually mentioned the multiverse and like the concept of it and whatnot and started bringing up Endgame type shit right at the beginning of the film, which was cool. Get it right in Endgame. But we get the aftermath and the consequences, which is Peter returning to his normal life back in his high school, back in New York. We get the mid-credit scene where Mysterio's revelation of Peter's identity through Jonah Jameson reveals the secret identity as a conclusion, right? And then basically, I believe that's it for mid-credits or end credits. Essentially, I've got a final question having to do with how Far From Home sets up Spider-Man going into No Way Home, the third film, right? But your thoughts, sir, Cyberneticshark, on the climax of the film, sir. Take as much time as you want. We're under 2-hour mark. We got lots of breathing room. Have at it.
Oh, good.
I thought you were doing your deaf person accent.
My what?
Your mute person accent. Your deaf person.
That was. Yeah, I was. No,
nice. Good one, sir. Way to add that in there.
Anyways, folks out there. So on the climax of the film, which I forgot to mention beforehand, that whole sequence when Mysterio tries to kill Peter, I forgot to mention that earlier. That was like my all-time favorite sequence in the whole film. When he goes to see Nick Fury in whatever town he was going to, and they have that whole like illusion thing going on, which was really cool. The dead Tony Stark to him thinking he's seeing MJ to the other versions of Spider-Man attacking him and stuff like that was just really cool. Before Mysterio basically makes the bus take him out basically, but thankfully because he's such a hardy spider man, that doesn't kill.
You Iceman'd out, Cyber. Right during your big climax contribution. Maybe you'll pop right back in. Let's see. Andre's in blackface mode. Look at this, folks. I'm rocking it solo here. I'm going to have to contribute for both of them.
There we go.
Oh, there he is.
Anyway, so great sequence there. Really well done. Really amazing. Getting into the conclusion of the film, I mean, when they end up going to New York, basically, or wherever they go. London. That whole sequence is really cool. How they get the storm going and everything with the tech and stuff like that. We get that big wind monster, which was looking really cool. The whole like ploy to lure, Nick Fury there to, basically finish his ultimate plot to, take over and to show Tony Stark he's better than him and stuff like that, even though he's dead. We get that great action sequence where finally Peter sees that he need to be able to get back his Peter tingle, as Aunt May calls it, and his spider sense, because if you didn't notice throughout the whole film, ever since he blipped back, his spider sense hasn't been working properly. Something that Spider-Man's known for, having the spider sense. So that was another thing they took liberties with in this film, is making it where he had lost that ability. And so we kind of see him finally get that back at the end of this film when he's going into the final battle. We get a great clip from Flash himself videotaping this while they're there. Basically all those people are brought there because Beck wants to kill them all because they know his secret. We get that great sequence. We got Maria Hill and Fury up in the tower, still pretending to be playing along with Mysterio himself. We get Maria Hill taking that big ass bazooka and destroying the one pod that's about to kill Fury, which was badass. Maria Hill once again being really awesome as usual. Once again, for those that don't know, I hate what they did to her in Secret Invasion. It was the most stupidest freaking thing. Hopefully, I'm hoping they bring her back and that was all a ploy, that she really didn't die. But anyways, still the stupidest fucking thing they've ever done. And so we have that great scene. That final sequence where they're in that long tunnel there, and he's trying to get Edith back from Beck. We have that great illusion all going on there, and we finally get to see Spider Sense reworking again. And how Peter takes that all out was so cool and so well constructed. And even when he, basically ends up confronting Beck, where he's supposedly lying on the ground, injured and stuff like that. Even then, his spider sense finally comes in and he stops him from shooting him by grabbing it, seeing that he was behind him this whole time and not really on the floor there. And we get that great scene where, basically Beck was injured from this stupid thing that he tried to do in that tunnel, and basically ends up, dying. But before he died, he ended up making a video that we get to see a little bit later. But basically, Peter defeats Beck and saves the day. And, Nick Fury, of course, thanks him, and so does everyone else. And you got that great sequence with Happy, after he comes and grabs him from the train with the Tony Stark tech. We get to see Peter make a new suit, which definitely was a better looking than we had from Tony to begin with. And
I'm glad you mentioned that, Cyber. That's a great scene with him and Happy.
And we get that great scene. They have that kind of touching moment where they both admit how much they miss Tony, and just how much Tony meant to them, and how really, if you think about it, Tony Stark really is the MCU. If you think about it, he was the start, he was the end in Endgame, and Robert Downey Jr.'s performance as Tony Stark really made the MCU what it is. And so having that moment in this film really capitalized on how much, Iron Man was the main reason why the MCU exists, and that it was such a great pleasure to know the guy. And, they had that great touch moment because they had such a great relationship. And we saw how that relationship was with Tony and Peter at the end of Endgame when they hug. And you can see that Tony really did care for Peter, and that he was kind of like his mentor, his kind of surrogate father. And so, that whole sequence was really done well. And I thought a great service to Iron Man himself. And, him rocking out to the music and him saying the wrong title as usual because he's supposed to be super young, which was absolutely hilarious. And, but yeah, Happy even at the end of this movie was really great. Finally Peter confronting them if they're having a relationship was absolutely hilarious after everything's done and gone. And basically, Nick Fury basically telling him that, well, you're doing a good job, you're doing what you're doing, and that it's always open. Basically the door is always open, and we need more people like you. And we get that kind of great little send off and stuff like that from Nick Fury himself. But that scene where he confronts Aunt May and Happy about their relationship is absolutely freaking hilarious, because Happy's like, yes, and Aunt May is like, no. And you're kind of like, huh? And they're like, well, yeah, we spending time together and we're getting to know it. And Aunt May's like, it's just a summer fling and stuff like that. And it's just a super funny mess. And just like I said once again earlier, just how they decided to have that kind of a thing in this film was absolutely freaking a great comedic point for this film. And because I have no idea in the comics if Aunt May ever dated anybody else, which I always felt that Aunt May never dated anybody else from what I've seen in the comics. So I think it's kind of funny that they had this kind of happen. Plus, also, I mean, they made Aunt May younger in this, making her a 50, mid 50s woman versus, usually I think she's like mid 60s. So, which is funny too. So I thought that was kind of interesting how they decided to go that route too. And I just thought it was really fun. But the final sequence of this film where, MJ and him have their like first official date. They go swinging, and she's like, "Oh, I'll never go swinging again," kind of deal. And we get that post-credit scene where Spider-Man gets ousted, and you're kind of like, "What the hell?" Like, no way. And then J. Jonah Jameson popping up was the highlight of it, though, too, because I absolutely love J. Jonah Jameson, and the fact that they brought back what's his name to play the character was awesome. I was so happy to see that. Because he was perfect as Jonah. He was so amazing as that character. And so I was very happy with that. But then finding out this whole time that Nick and Maria were Skrulls too, as one of the things, I was like, what? I'm like, oh God, they're bringing the Skrulls in more, because we got Captain Marvel earlier before Endgame having to deal with Skrulls. So I was like, holy crap, how long has Nick not been there? And of course, we get that kind of like that little scene there, and you're kind of like, no way, they were Skrulls this whole time. No wonder Fury didn't seem like Fury at all. So I think that was a great little spoiler, kind of helping us to see that the whole time we weren't really seeing Nick Fury, which makes you kind of feel better, because you're like, okay, why is Samuel L. Jackson like not acting like Fury? So it's like fantastic, but. Overall, great ending. Loved it. Thought it was fantastic. Really enjoyed this film. Like I said, it wasn't as good as Homecoming, but still, it was a very fun film. And I thought it had a really great ending act.
Okay. Andreas, your thoughts are on that climax.
The climax is great. I really enjoy it. First off, the music by Michael Giacchino is really fantastic in this film. Especially with the final climax here, it gives you a pump, with the drones, the attacking Pier, and then of course, MJ and the friends with Happy trying to escape from them. It's really good. I thought that it was really a challenge. I do agree with you, Jeff, that it was cool to see, it's not the first time, like seeing Spider-Man getting rough and seeing some blood. We saw that a little bit in Homecoming and, the first two Raimi films. The first three, and a little bit in the Andrew Garfield. So it was refreshing to see that. Plus, him losing his web shooters. That was really cool. Like, it reminded me of the cartoons. Like, every time he like rants out, he freaks out. It was kind of cool to see, him running out web shooters. So that was really neat. I like how, he was actually acting smart finally in that final sequence, which I liked. Like how he threw the one of the grenades from the drones and throw it up and then use the tower sign as a shield, like Captain America, and jump through that push thing, and then the drones. That was a really good smart thing there. Plus, Jake Gyllenhaal just kills it in the sequence. Like, I don't know. You guys went to the funny moments. Like, funny moment is when he is reading the script from his one of his team members to Nick Fury about what's going on. That was hilarious. And then, of course, fake scroll Nick Fury and say that's bullshit there. It's like, yeah, of course. And then this funny moment, I love this from Happy, is when the kids are stuck in the vault, in the Crown Jewels vault, and then they're confessing their lies. It's hilarious. Dad say like he played video games, like he's wasting his life playing video games, and then like Betty say she made a fake ID but she hasn't used it yet, and then like Flash say he always posts video live streams because no one likes he wants to get noticed, but then Happy replies that the only reason that you're safe now is because Spider-Man has watched you, and he got so excited. And then MJ starts, saying bad things to, Flash, and then confess that, she does that because to, confess the truth that way. And then the funniest part is when Happy confessed that he's in love with Spider-Man's aunt. And then, like, the kids just look at him like, what? That is so funny. I just love that moment. And, one thing, I don't know what's your guys' opinion on this. I don't like they changed the spider sense to pure tingle. I really don't like that. I really hated that.
I thought you were gonna say that you don't like Haley Atwell's big ass titties. I was gonna be like, are you serious? I love them.
I love them too. I mean, I cannot get enough of them. I mean, anyway.
You missed it. Cyber mentioned that in his contribution. I don't know if you could hear him or whatnot, that he sort of like loses his spider sense for some reason in the film.
Oh,
right? Yeah, he does until it kind of comes back to him at the end. Right? If you think about it, that first water elemental, his spider sense doesn't tingle at all. It's the sewer grate being pushed up by the elevation of the water that that gets his attention. Right?
Yeah.
Not it's just regular human nature.
Yeah. No. That's true. That's really good. No. I'm saying the name. Like like in the Spider-Man films, I don't think we call spider sense in the films. I need to remember. Like
they've never have. No.
Yeah.
Not in the MCU.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I like how they use the spider sense in the film. I'm just saying I didn't like they call the spider sense a pure tingle. I just don't like personally just call it spider sense. That's it. It's not a bad thing to say it. I don't like that because they're afraid. Like I get you're making this for the audience, but don't be afraid that you're a comic book movie. And I didn't like that they changed it to pure tingle. I just felt like it was stupid.
Oh, hey, I have my moments where the comic book accuracy and stuff is really off, bothers me, and and all that. I've just become sort of I've never been the type, and Cyber will tell you from jump, I've never been the type at all as an MCU fan. I've always had the attitude, I don't talk about it much, but Cyber knows, I used to mention it a lot before, in the beginning, that I really care about like the fact that like you don't have to be some perfect MCU fan. It used to bother me a little bit and whatnot when we'd have people come on the show, right, Cyber? They have a lot of comic book knowledge and they have this attitude, right? This like elitist attitude and disposition towards the rest of the people on the show because they have all that comic book knowledge compared to you. Like they're in a different league than you. Like you know the MCU better than them, or you know better television than you do, or movies than you do because of that. And that's not how it works. If you really even grasp that, like comic books cannot just translate directly into a cinematic world, or certainly a TV world, right? Then you're an idiot. Right there, your shit doesn't make any sense. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. But yeah, I just think the PNG goes stupid. Just call it spider sense. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, yeah. So after that, we got Peter, finally getting up to Mysterio's like hold out, whatever you want to call it. And that sequence is really great. Particularly, Jake is like letting loose. Like he's just like Leo DiCaprio. He always have these like manic attacks. Like he's talks so loud and like very manically, like Leo does. Like particularly in Django Unchained, when he talks to Django and King Shorts in the dinner thing. Like it's similar to that. Like him telling the drones to shoot it because he's in the perimeter of the shootout, and it's like telling them to shoot the aim now, the target. So and yeah, I was hoping not to have Mysterio die, so it was kind of sad that he did, but it was a great way how he like trying to trick Peter again by using one of the delusions. So that was really cool, and I like his final speech telling Peter that everyone can believe they want to believe anything now, and they do, and then I really like that speech. But yeah, so then after that, you got the ending where everyone comes back. I do laugh the Betty and Ned relationship. It was funny when they got together, and he say like, "Oh, because I was a little boy, I became a man after meeting a woman." that was funny. And of course they broke up just after landing into New York. That was funny. So I really enjoyed that funny bit of Ned dating Betty like this for the whole summer. That was funny. Yeah, and then you get to the final scene, and that's it. That's Spider-Man Far From Home, and then we get to, the credit scene, which people talked about. Yeah, so it was a big deal seeing J.K. Simmons again as Joe Jonah Jameson. I agree. I mean, we're all in agreement. He is Joe Jameson. Like, he is the definitive actor playing that character. So happy he came back, and we're going to see a bit more of him in No Way Home, which is great. Yeah, the reveal of the secret Danny was like, shocking. And this is where I want to talk about, you were saying like how this leads into the No Way Home. I don't think this part of revealing the secret and all that, like all that doesn't really lean too hard in No Way Home, except with the secret identity. I feel like they could have done more with the reveal of the secret identity in the third film if they stuck with Kraven the Hunter as the main villain. Because No Way Home is more about the multiverse and the villains and like having the two other Spider-Mans. So I feel like No Way Home, I agree with Travis because he brought this up, that it feels undone in the next one because they don't really spend time with I mean they give you the pressure on the secret identity on Pierre in No Way Home, but like I think they could have done more with his secret identity being revealed. So that's my opinion on how it leads into.
They had a lot to flush out in that movie, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all there is.
Yeah.
So wrap it up so we can do ratings to get the hell out of here.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's what I want to say. That but it's movies. Yeah, and then the post-credit scene of the fake Nick Fury thing, I was like, I didn't really care about that. I was like, I agree with Cyber, yeah, like, but then we're gonna do that again in the Marvels and Secret Invasion, where he doesn't act like Nick Fury. So this was so stupid. So I don't get why they did it. So again, turn 60 million. Thanks a lot, Cyber. Thank you, Professor Cyber. I'm happy that I'm back for 60 minutes. Anyway, so I think this post-credit is stupid. It doesn't lead us to anything at all. I mean, it doesn't lead us to Secret Invasion or the Marvels. It just tells us that he's out of space. So, well, you're gonna drop, pardon my French, fuck this post-credit scene. So,
I forgot about that. You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. I forgot about the fact that the Nick Fury, the Nick Fury space scene is in the end credits of this movie.
Yeah, it's after he talked to Talos.
Okay,
yeah,
you're right. My bad.
yeah.
You know what? I'm sorry. I forgot. I didn't watch the end credit.
Yeah, it's the last one. Yeah, because the mid credits is the.
Well, usually the end credit is the last one. Yes.
Yeah. This movie had two. Like you got the secret identity reveal, and then you got this like Nick Fury one that he wasn't real, but he's up space. But yeah, it's okay. This one was okay, but it doesn't lead to us anything at all.
Maybe Nick Fury was the Jar Jar Binks Skrull version of a Skrull as Nick Fury in Secret Invasion. And that's what happened with Secret Invasion. That was Jar Jar.
Or I thinking Nick Fury has brothers that look like him, and they're all taking his turn as a super spy. That's why I think.
His characters has been very erratic and whatnot and everything. But all right. Let's go ahead and let's do ratings. I'll start off. I'm going to give the film a solid 7.75. Andreas?
Same here. 7 out of 10.
Cyberneticshark, sir.
I'm going to give it a 9. And I give it a 9 because the only reason I give it a 9 is because of Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio. If he was not the main bad guy and it was just about revenge, and they made it more original, gave it a better Mysterio vibe, it would have gotten a 10. I still give this film a 10 simply for the fact between the dream sequence where Mysterio tries to take out Spider-Man with a train and the final battle, both of those are super epic in their own proportion. And those right there to me are 10s. So this film would have been a 10 if they had just had a little more stronger villain in Mysterio. Like I said, nothing against Jake Gyllenhaal. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I think he's a great actor. I mean, I've been a big fan of his since I saw him in A Day After Tomorrow back in 2004. I think he was fantastic in that. And I think he has a great potential and he's just a great actor. But yeah, I just feel like this version of Mysterio just is not the best choice for this film. So I give it a 9.
Okay, that's fair. And you know what? I'll give Gyllenhaal a 9, right? Because honestly, he brought a lot of presence to this film at that time, right? He still had a lot of shine coming off him right now. His career's a little old, a little bit, and whatnot compared to back then, but he was coming off some projects and whatnot, and everything where he was a big addition to this movie, right? He really people really ganked out that Jake Gyllenhaal was going to be in this movie, especially in the trailers. So, final question before we do plugs. Starting off with you, Cyber, what do you think of his evolution into Spider-Man 3, right? Coming off this movie. Do you think this movie sets him up well for the Peter we get in the third film? Like, do you feel like that evolution from movie 1 to 2 to 3 carries? Does it stall? Do you feel like, getting into the third film a little bit, that, of which we've never reviewed actually. So we got to do that at some point. Or did we review the third film?
We reviewed it.
We reviewed it. Okay. What do you think? Did they smoothly carry him over well into the third film?
I mean, honestly, I feel his best performance was in No Way Home. I think he definitely matured a lot by that time. I definitely feel that, his evolution in this film helped carry that into the next film. But at the same time, I think that more of his evolution occurred in No Way Home versus these first two films. Because he definitely was coming off of, Far From Home at the beginning of No Way Home. Still kind of that same kind of, finally he's got his balls, but he's not fully there. And so by the end of, 3, his final transition into the Spider-Man we know for the comics is officially there. So I think that they purposely waited to give him kind of that final story arc to really bring him to turn into the MCU Spider-Man. Because if you think about it, these 3 films really were kind of a beginning catalyst of that interconnecting Sony's MCU verse that they were trying to kind of start. And so the MCU's true version of Spider-Man kind of has equally is kind of vanished because that one was what these 3 movies were. Whereas the new one we're going to get is going to be more of that Sonyverse one. So these next 3 films, if they decide to do 3, whatever, when Spider-Man 4 does finally come out, it's going to be more about that Sonyverse Spider-Man versus the MCU Spider-Man. So we got those 4 films he was in, 5 films he was in, that kind of was the MCU's version of Spider-Man, like new iteration, whereas we're getting now a more comic book accurate when we get to the Sonyverse one.
Okay. Andres, you want to wrap this one up? What do you think? How did they do in terms of the leap with his character? What it's his arc, the whole scenery around it from film 1 to 2. Did they do a good job carrying it over into 3?
No. I think that I agree with Saber. The third one is completely fresh and different because I agree with Travis. My main problem with this film, it felt like another repeat of what Homecoming did. In the extent, if you see the film, he has another Stark suit and all that, and he just does another repeat again. Where I feel like the outside of the Spider-Man films, I feel like the Avengers films help push this version of Peter in No Way Home more than his 2 solo films, really. So I don't think this will be really excel, his arc in the No Way Home, really. It's just the same repeat, where the third film is a much more personal arc where Peter becomes more the Spider-Man getting rid of all the technology and all the connections from the Avengers, that for me was very important to get like who is Spider-Man, and I think No Way Home did that well. So I agree with what Travis said in the comics. I think he brought really good points. That is what I am feeling right now with this film, but that's what it is. So that's my opinion on this film.
Okay, and as far as Travis goes, Travis, I'm sorry, I did not mean to ignore you at all. Let me go ahead really quick and pull you up. Now, Travis has been at the conversation before. And I wanted to scroll it back and everything and whatnot. And Cyber, Andres, if you want to jump into whatnot and address his points, feel free. Really enjoyed this one, and the ending was a mind fuck. What the MCU did best with Spider-Man was not repeating what previous films did and doing new things. I feel like it was undone in the next one. That's fair. Although Watts directed all the films. In terms of, I do feel that Peter has the same arc in each film. He starts off with Tony's tech, realizes he needs to be his own hero, using his own suit, only end up in Tony's suit again. Yeah, it's kind of lazy that some of that stuff, Travis. It is. Well, hey, you know what? We appreciate that. It's nice to know you're enjoying the stream, sir. We're enjoying it too. Without question. Okay, so, all right then. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we go ahead and do plugs? We'll get the hell out of here, folks. That is our review. Our last Infinity Saga review, our final one. It's over. We can move forward into 2024, right? With it done. We still got MCU movies to review, but at this point now, it's just new ones, I believe. I think we're all caught up, aren't we, Syra? Didn't we do everything new that's come out?
Yes, sir.
We have. So we're all caught up, right? Even Thor: Love and Thunder, Andreas' favorite movie, along with Sean. They connected very heavily on that. I don't know what the fuck was going on. I must have been really fucking like high on crack and drunk or something on that review, because I think I actually gave it like a decent rating for some reason. I have no idea why. I think I must have been just like...
You probably gave it an 8 out of 10. You told me.
No, I did not. I did not give it an 8 out of 10. It was not like a really like happy review. Nobody was like really ecstatic to be on it. So, there also
it wasn't the greatest film, but it was enjoyable in parts.
Yes, and as we all know, when you're on the show and you have good people around you, it does tend to elevate your attitude and whatnot and bring you into a mindset to where you feel very positive. And you're coming right off the movie, you do kind of sort of feel a little biased to whatnot and everything, and you get a little excited. And maybe you get a little affected by the other people on the show. I do sometimes, right? Their happiness or the stuff they like in it. But here, let me go ahead and pull up plugs. Folks, Happy New Year, right? Seriously, Happy New Year. It is almost 2024. It will be here before you know it. We have What If episodes 2 and 3 with Cyber moderating on Friday. On Monday, Andreas and I are doing our first X-Men animated series reviews. Episodes 1 and 2. Can't wait. Along with talking about all DCU in our first segment. DCU, news, events, rumors, whatever. Yep. Next Wednesday, we have Face Off. Can't wait. Gonna be dope as fuck. That Friday, we'll have What If again. Episodes 4 and 5. Right? And then after that, we'll start Echo on January 10th. So it should be fun. I can't wait to do Echo. Excited. Totally pumped for Echo. That fucking trailer kicked me right in the teeth. I'll tell you right now, baby. If you ain't seen the Echo trailer, you don't even know yet what you're missing if you don't watch that show.
Let's just hope the main actress there does better than she did in Hawkeye.
Well, she can't talk, so I mean, she's not going to be able to do it vocally. But she did a pretty good job, Cyber, like running through that wall with that guy and then slapping his head against the ground in that trailer. That was pretty dope.
Yep.
All right, Mr. Cyberneticshark, sir.
All right, folks, if you enjoy me on here on the MCU's Bleeding Edge, check out my solo content. You'll find me under Cyberneticshark on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, X, Facebook, Instagram, pretty much anywhere, Patreon. But you can see there, I'm up to 717. I've picked up 5 new subscribers in the last, 718 now, in the last few days. And just put up my If trailer reaction and my Ghostbusters Frozen Empire reaction and Ferocia. So definitely go check those out. Some of my newer reviews or trailer reactions, just to say. Like I said, I'll have my Godzilla -1 review up soon, along with a few other movie reviews. Last week, I went to the movies quite often, so you'll be seeing 3 other new reviews coming up soon for Wonka, Aquaman 2, and other ones. So, yeah, definitely check those out as well. I just want to thank everyone for, being subscribers. You guys are rocking it. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you guys. Keep on rocking it. Let's get to that 1,000 mark. And, keep on rocking it, people. And help me and Mr. Andres get there.
Hey, look, I got an email from Juliet Grace. I've been getting a lot of spam emails for some reason. Who wants to reach a certain level on YouTube from Flax Creatives, Growth Manager. I wanted to reach out and share some exciting news. We recently completed the project for our client, Gabe Built. I have no fucking idea. Within just 9 months, we helped him surpass 300K subscribers, Cyber and Andreas. Holy shit, 9 months, 300K? God damn. All while he only worked 2 days a week. The best part is he didn't have a script, edit, or even post the content himself. Yo, listen, I better fucking I'm gonna send this email over to you guys, man. This sounds like a seriously legitimate gold opportunity right here. That's some serious YouTube growth, bro. 300,000K subs in fucking 9 months, and you don't even have to make content?
No.
How is that even possible?
Don't trust them.
What the fuck? How does that even work? I mean, what's on his YouTube channel?
Pictures.
Pictures of his butt? I guess so.
Probably, maybe.
Anyway.
He didn't have to script, edit, or even post the content himself. He only works 2 days a week. What does this fucking guy do? Who posts his content for him? Goddamn fucking President John Claude?
Are you talking to me? Anyway. Hello, everyone. My name is Dreas Diaz, Pop Culture Guy. I'm up to 862 subscribers. Not bad. And I post these videos on a regular basis on my own in my editing process. So, yesterday, I posted a Batman Mask Phantasm 30th Anniversary Tribute. Check that out because the 25th was his release date back in 1993. And then today I just posted a repost of Loki Season 1, Episode 4. Check that out. Tomorrow will be a retrospective review on Batman Mask Phantasm. So a lot of things to wrap up for 2023 very soon. But yeah, thank you everyone for supporting me. And this will be a good time. This is going to be our last movie review for 2023. When we come back in 2024. I want to thank Cyber, Jeff, the host of MCU Bleeding Edge, inviting me into this group. I want to say, bottom of my heart, thank you, both of you guys. You've been very awesome for letting me into your community and your group. This was one of the best gifts of 2023. After not a great start. If you guys know, unfortunately, my dad passed away this year. Very low this year with my family, but getting to be working with other YouTube content creators like Cyber and Jeff is such a blessing for me, and it's one of my favorite Christmas gifts I got this year. So thank you both of you guys for letting me, be part of this team and continue reviewing and expanding the Time Lord history and lore for you guys. And yeah, so I want to thank you both, and thank you you guys as well, the MCU community. Please support me and Cyber as well. Help us reach that mark towards the end of this year, and we'll be continuing doing more.
And I'm reaching out right now to Juliet Grace to meet with her. I got to hear about this program, man. I'm letting her know right now. I said, I suppose I'll meet with you, listen to this, but those numbers mean nothing to me. They are not legitimate. You have nothing for free or for money that is going to make me gain 300K subs in 9 months while not even making content or whatever. But I might as well hear your bullshit. So let's do it. Can't wait, folks. It'll be a good meeting. I promise. I will report in after I have this meeting. Cyber, I know you take this meeting, wouldn't you? You jump on it.
Oh, you know it.
Oh, Cyber loves stuff like this. He loved listening to this bitch talk whatever hustle bullshit she's got. She's got some straight. I bet she's got some good hustle. You guys will love to hear this. All right, folks, we're out of here. Happy New Year.
Sean Connery says.
Yep, Merry Christmas.
That was correct. Let's do this. 2024.
Perfect. Right off the accent.
For myself, I want to enjoy the series as they're doing it. I like watching how, like what you do, Jeff, is bring out a lot of the stuff with Feige and all that, and you sort of stay on that and keep up with him. So, and he's really got control over this. This is his baby.
Well, Renee,
I'm very interested in what he's doing. And what
Renee, once I set up the Bleeding Edge OnlyFans channel and everything, I think Feige's going to be done with me. You know, I don't think he's going to take my phone calls anymore at that point.
He doesn't now, Jeff. Does he?
Exactly.
No. I'm a pretty chill dude. I'm pretty talented, but I'm not at Feige level yet.
Not even
I want to go online with on a podcast show with Martin Scorsese myself.
Oh yeah?
And debate what is cinema.
Well, I'll tell you that oh man, Nate, Nate, why do you got to keep hacking my shit and everything and whatnot?
I can't breathe.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me.